One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet whom millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
So is Kamala doing okay?
Nope. She's down, Joe. I think they found out that she's retarded, and now we're basically f***ed. Trump is killing us at the polls, so yes, we're going to lose Joe.
Damn it. Wait. What if I come back to run again?
As candidate?
Yeah.
Well, let me put it this way, Joe. The only person in this world who is even more retarded than Kamala Harris is basically you. So no, Joe,
on, man.
You're
Just
not going
give me
back
another
yet.
shot.
Let's let it all play out. Okay, we'll talk later, Joe.
Okay.
Women looking fine up in here.
I love the ending of that. Women looking fine up in here. Oh boy. That obviously was an overdub of the conversation between Dementia Joe and Barack Obama. But the news that we're seeing here is not far off. And I remember telling you last night, I said it reminded me of that scene in The Godfather when Michael Corleone went up and kissed Fredo, said, "You broke my heart, man, you broke my heart." And then, of course, he ended up whacking Fredo, which at this point you have to wonder, with everything that's going on, has a button been pushed on Kamala Harris? Has the order been given? Because what I'm going to show you today is going to basically lead up to what these guys, if you haven't seen it, we're actually talking about, and we're not far off. I mean, seriously, not far off. So I know many of you watched my feed last night. Thank you very much. It was one of the most watched feeds. I even beat some of the bigger channels. At one point, we had 60,000 concurrent people watching. Thank you very much. But if you didn't watch the entirety of Bret Baier's interview, let me go ahead and just give you a quick recap on that interview. for those of you who didn't watch or maybe have forgotten overnight.
Democrats voted against that.
Donald Trump's administration, even though that Donald Trump acted from the Trump campaign, Trump would say he did. It's come out of Donald Trump. An individual, he spent $20 million. Donald Trump, if he'd prefer to run on a problem, he actually has no plan. And again, his policy was his would make them weaker. His plan, Donald Trump,
You've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump and his vice president, he is unfit to serve, that he is unstable, that he is dangerous, with someone who professes to be a leader and it being about him. And watch any of his rallies, he's the one who tends to demean. He's the one who talks about it, suggesting he would turn what he has been saying about when he's speaking about the American people. That he has repeated it, that he has talked about, disagree with him. This is about Donald Trump being.
You say now
he's unstable. He is unstable, but he's not stable.
Let me ask you this.
Donald Trump
After
is.
Georgia minutes of talking to President Biden at a fund debate stage.
Donald Trump is concerned about Donald Trump with people who know him best, even people who worked for him, worked with him in this, and have said he is unfit, including his former vice president, for him to choose another running mate. Let's go back to Donald Trump. Donald Trump's administration, that Donald Trump dismissed them, not to mention how Donald Trump had.
They're giving me a hard rap.
Well, I thank you for the time.
I thank you for the time.
It's good to meet you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, that pretty much was the interview. It was condensed down to 90 seconds for you, but you really get the point. Bret Baier thought he was doing an interview with Kamala Harris about her presidential campaign, and it turned into an ad for Donald Trump. She thought she was digging on him. She thought she was hitting body blow after body blow, but she ended up looking like a fool. An absolute blithering fool. Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump. When you're looking in the rearview mirror, you're not focusing on what's ahead. And this woman obviously did not have her eye on the road. She didn't have her hands on the wheel. And immediately, before the pundits could begin trying to do triage and fix everything, the numbers started tanking. And I mean like really, really fast. So those of you who know I talk about Polymarket quite a bit. And Polymarket is that site where you can, for lack of better words, you can bet on who you think is going to win. As of right now, let me just go ahead and refresh it so you know it is current. Right now, it is 60.5 to 39.5. An absolute bent over the knee, bare butt, with leather glove spanking is what's going on over at Polymarket. It's absolutely, she's getting crushed. But that's, usually I talk about the polls, but I don't do much about the polls anymore because they're liars. And so RCP at this point has condensed all the polls into what they call their map of the electorals. They put it out, and it's, look at this. This, I might have to, let me see if I can make this smaller so you can absolutely see it. But that's what they've done. The 2024 Electoral College, which is why they want to do away with the Electoral College, with no toss-up states, shows Trump at 312 and Kamala at 226. Those of you from wherever you're from, 270 is the winning number. This would be considered an absolute butt-kicking landslide. What's interesting about it with RCP is they basically have given Trump Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Those three, and North Carolina, and Arizona, and Nevada. So basically what they did is they took every single swing state, all of them, and pushed them into the Trump camp. So in less than 24 hours, her interview was last night at 6 p.m. In less than 24 hours, everything has flipped on its head. She's in landslide defeat category, and Polymarket is pushing it big time into Trump. And then Trump does an interview today and says, yeah, well, most of the business people are already shifting, understanding that he may take the presidency. All this with the backdrop of what's happening with Obama and Biden. So that's really interesting. But before we get to Obama and Biden, so of course what they did today is they had to get out there and put all of their horses out there on every single media site to defend everything that people saw and actually tell people you didn't see what you think you saw. It wasn't that bad. You know, she was doing well. It was a strategy. Check out this idiocy.
You know, when the kicker in football, they call a timeout right before he's going to kick the field goal. They're icing the kicker.
So you didn't know. If you didn't see this, you wouldn't have known what happened. What Brett Baer is going to tell you here is she was trying to wiggle out of it. Not a lot of people know that. None of the pundits mentioned it. Only Brett Baer talked about this. She tried to wiggle out of it. They agreed to 30 minutes. She didn't show up. Nobody talked about that. She didn't show up. Then she just kept saying, oh, I need another 10 minutes to get ready. Oh, I need another 15. And then finally they showed up and they had 22 minutes, I believe, to get the interview done, taped, and then get ready to be broadcast. Bad news. So
we were supposed to start at 5 p.m. This was the time they gave us. Originally, we were going to do 25 or 30 minutes. They came in and said, well, maybe 20. So it was already getting...
Maybe 20.
Whittled down. And then the vice president showed up about 5:15. We were pushing the envelope.
All right, so understand, he needed to get this done by 5:30 so he could basically get it up and have everybody, put it on the air, get it slotted. And she shows up at 5:15, just waltzes in there.
To be able to turn it around for the top of the 6 o'clock. So that's how it started. And I could tell when we started talking that she was going to be tough to redirect without me trying to interrupt. I did this with President Obama. At one point, I just said, Mr. President, I know you like the filibuster. I just didn't even have the chance to sometimes redirect in those ways. I had a lot of other questions. Dana, you've been on the other side. You've been on the rapper as a press secretary interviewing a president. And, I'm talking like 4 people waving their hands like it's got to stop.
They were throw the towel. So what Brett Baer is saying, you saw it if you watched the interview a couple of times. He's like, I got to get going. They're telling me to rap. They're telling me, and he's looking over his shoulder because the people were telling him to rap. They were trying to cut it. Done, over. Here's the towel. Get her out of here. And so they had to cut the interview. Not a single person on CNN, MSNBC, ABC, the basically liberal media ever played this stuff that Brett Baer is saying right now. They just completely ignored it like it didn't happen. And of course, people are starting to figure out what exactly happened.
So Martha, final, I had to dismount there at the end.
Just not the Twitter. All right, so now here comes the parade of pundits, or should we call it the idiots that are trying to tell you what you saw isn't what you saw. I think that works in Democrat circles. I think it works with the libnuts because they seem to think that, Potato Head here and the rest of them all are telling you the truth when you have to remember this guy was fired from CNN for making stuff up, and now they brought him back. But he's still his same old self.
It's real life ever, but no, looking at it seemed like a Rorschach test right from the beginning of how people were going to see. Did she crush it? Did she blow it? What was the outcome of the interview?
I think Trump refused to debate Kamala.
They're talking about Kamala's interview, and the first word out of his mouth, I had to cut it right then and there. Hey, blah, 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 blah. And what do you think, Brian? Trump. Right off, they can't help themselves. They know she completely flubbed it.
Harris again. So Harris did the next best thing. She booked a debate on Fox News. And that's what this was tonight. She essentially walked into a Trump campaign field office.
Okay, so now he's calling Fox News a Trump campaign field office. As if she was walking into, the belly of the beast. This was just going to be awful for her. And she shows such stature by going in there.
Because anchor Brett Baer, who is a solid journalist, he is also incredibly sympathetic to Trump because that's what his fans want. That's what his viewers want. Okay,
I'm going to have to pull up comments here. Any of you here think that Brett Baier is in the Trump camp? I'm pretty sure you'd be hard-pressed to find any Trump supporter who thinks Brett Baier is in the Trump camp.
Want him to represent the Trump point of view. So it was almost as if you had a Trump surrogate interviewing Kamala Harris. And look, adversarial interviews are a good thing. We should root for them. We should want more of them. You know, you're so fantastic at adversarial interviews where we challenge newsmakers and we get answers out of them. But yes, this was a Rorschach test. Some people think Baier was mansplaining. Other people think Harris was filibustering. I think at the end of the day, this was all about one word, the word tough. It showed that Harris was tough. She went into the so-called Fox den, and that's how Harris's campaign is promoting it tonight. They're saying she went into the Fox den and look what happened.
Now, you're supposed to be an objective news source. I don't care how Kamala Harris is promoting it. That shouldn't be what your show is about. Your show should be what happened and what's your perspective on what she actually said. And all they're saying is, well, Brett Baier was mean, and now over here, you know, Kamala's people said she was tough, and you didn't even mention anything about, you know, what happened. So if anybody who didn't see the interview, notice they didn't play any cuts. They don't want to show anybody what actually happened, because that would be like, oh my God.
Well, I think this strategy from Harris was a Google strategy. She wanted Fox viewers to start to Google some of the things she was saying, because some of the comments she was making in this interview are foreign to the Fox audience. For example, General Mark Milley saying Trump is a fascist to the core. That's barely been covered on Fox News. So she was able to get some of those talking points in. This was the most adversarial interview Kamala Harris has probably ever done. Instead of getting to debate Trump again, she got to debate Brett Baier. And a lot of viewers are going to come away saying, wow, she's...
I have a question. Brian, and some of you other people, Wolf, why is this the most adversarial interview she's ever done? I don't understand it. You're running for president, not dog catcher in a city. You're running for president. What you just admitted to the American people, you just admitted that you have not been doing your job for the last couple months. If that's the most adversarial interview she's had last night, wouldn't you turn around and ask yourself, well, what the hell have we been doing for the last couple of months? Why have we not asked her very simple questions? And those of you who watched it, you realize right now he didn't come after her with any hard questions. It wasn't like, you know, he was attacking her. Hey, why did you leave the border open? That's not an attack. Just give me a straight question. They consider that being adversarial, asking a question and expecting an answer from a presidential candidate. It doesn't make any sense. Hey, you said this. Do you still believe that? It came out your mouth. You know, the things that you wanted to say. You said it. Do you still believe it? Do you still believe Transformers, we should be paying for Transformer surgeries? It came out your mouth. How is that adversarial? I'm just trying to find out if you mean what you say or are you completely full of it. So, real quick here, I had, this would crack me up. I crack myself up sometimes. Leslie Marshall says, she's on Fox sometimes and other shows. She goes, I do want to point out, this is very important, that on tonight's Fox News interview with Brett Baier and the VP, she had no notes, no teleprompter, and no advanced knowledge of the questions. I couldn't hold back. So what you're saying is this was her first actual interview. See, I think they forgot that. I think by coming out and saying, hey, she didn't have a teleprompter, she didn't have any notes, she didn't have this, and she still did it. You're 2 weeks from the frickin' election, and you basically just acknowledge that this was her first interview. How sad of the profession being a reporter or journalist must actually be at this point if you type this stuff out and put it out there and you expect people just to swallow it like it's, oh yeah, she didn't have any notes, she didn't have a teleprompter, she's freaking awesome. Isn't that how she's supposed to be? Shouldn't it be that way all the time? When you walk out and give a speech, if you're the person who's actually running things or involved in running things, shouldn't you know what the hell you're talking about without needing any notes? I mean, I don't care if you have some notes because, hey, let me check the date on this. Oh, it was September 8th when we did X, Y, and Z. Oh, it was September 12th when we did this. Yeah, that's fine. Check your notes for that. But if I asked you straight up, why didn't you close the border? I don't need a note. That's a policy. That's not a date. That's not a minor detail. Why didn't you close the border? You've been here 3.5 years. Why haven't you done this? Why haven't you done that? Those are very simple questions. And I got Leslie Marshall sitting here going, hey, she didn't need anything and she had no advanced knowledge of the questions. Yes, she did. Absolutely she did. You know why she did? Because every single one of us have the same damn question. She knew she was going to be asked about the border. She knew she would be asked about statements she has made. How would you not know that was coming unless you were a complete, utter moron? It's very simple. I mean, you know who you are. You know what you're running for. You know what people care about. You know why? Because they put it on a list. You can always see what the top 10 issues are that people are concerned about. So if I just stuck to those issues and I went immigration, and I went to Trace Lacey's taking over apartment complexes, and I talked to, I know you know about the A. I know you know about baby disposal. You don't need any notes about that. That's like the only thing you can talk about without notes. But you can't talk about, hey, listen, are you really going to raise capital gains on unrealized income? Yeah, about that. What? That's what you said. Hey, you said you were going to give black guys $20,000 each up to $1 million loans so they can start a business. Okay, that's your policy. Where's it coming from? And why just black people? Oh, that's right. You changed it because you got slammed and you made it for everybody. All right, now even more so. Where's the money coming from? These are things that came out your mouth. If I can remember them without a single note and no teleprompter, if I can remember them, why don't you remember them? What do you mean, Leslie? What do you mean she didn't have a teleprompter and no advanced knowledge of the questions? If she came on my show, she wouldn't have to. I wouldn't even need notes. I'm going to ask you, why is the border open? What have you done? Why are you taxing the hell out of us? Blah, blah, blah. You don't have the answers to those questions? Then you shouldn't be running for president. Let's continue.
Willing to do that. That's a sign of toughness and strength.
A little bit dismissive. I think it's of that fact. I think it's very important when you have your own former vice president not endorse you.
So this is Sunny from The View. She shows up on MSNBC before she goes on her own show to complain about how they treated Kamala.
Do you think that he approached her differently than other people he interviews?
I saw a little bit of the panel after the interview, and one woman said that she came in hot and also said that she became angrier. I thought he came in hot, and
when he came in hot, you mean the first question he asked her was, 6 million, 10 million, what's the number? That wasn't being hot. He asked her a simple question. At that point, she started backpedaling and couldn't answer the question. Hey, how many you let in? No, so she's lying.
I'm very tired of is this trope of the angry black woman.
Did you watch the interview, Sonny? Because I'd like to know if you could play me a couple cuts of other people who are running for, elected office at that level act the way she did. I mean, just show me. She was screaming, she was pointing, she was making nasty faces. She had every one of those single attributes of the so-called angry black woman. We all know what it looks like. You can't go on a show and tell people it wasn't what you actually saw when you actually saw it.
She was not angry. She was in command of the facts. She was passionate.
What facts? All she kept saying was Trump. Trump, 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 Trump. She didn't give any facts because she couldn't say any. She doesn't know any.
Passion does not equal anger. I'm often called, Donald Trump actually called me dumb
Yeah, he was smart for that.
At a rally recently. You have...
And she's going to prove why Donald Trump was right in about 10 seconds.
These tropes that are used against women and women of color in particular.
Oh,
and I did not see a dumb woman. I did not see an angry woman. I saw a woman who understands what is at stake. And I think that there will be people that will change their minds. I think that there will be...
So now she's back on her show, and she's saying that, you know, there's going to be people who change their minds because the independents saw what she did, and they're going to, you know, flock to her.
People that were very shocked at that. I was shocked in real time, because you have people that are never Trumpers that watch Fox News. You have independents that watch Fox News. You have Democrats that watch Fox News. So the reason she appeared on Fox News is because she knows that there are openings for her there. But, you know, Brett Baier, he did himself a disservice by doing what he did.
What exactly did Brett Baier do? Those of you who watched it, because obviously these shows are for people who didn't actually watch the interview.
He is known for doing the bidding of Fox News, but he ends his show every night as fair, balanced, and unafraid. Well, that was not fair and balanced.
All right. So, as a black man, I'm going to talk to you. You mind if I just turn off the videos and just talk to you? It is 2024. We've had a black president, and we've had a somewhat black vice president. At some point, these grievance merchants, the Al Sharptons, the Sonny Hostins, the Whoopi Goldbergs, and all the rest of them, at some point you have to look in the mirror and realize, A, a lot of white people are tired of your BS. Just saying it. And B, a lot of black people are tired of your BS. It's not working anymore. You know how I know it's not working? Because I know that when you see a poll like this, and you see those numbers, and you see what's going on, when you see 60, you know for sure at that point it's not all white people. Nobody cares anymore about your tropisms. You're worried and you're trying to paint things as people of color. It's over. It's old. We don't care anymore. At some point, if I was a Democrat politician, which thank God I'm not, I would probably run an entire campaign completely different. And that difference would be, I'm not going to even mention that stuff anymore. Because as soon as you start mentioning race, you are giving an excuse. You're giving a crutch. You're complaining to people that, you know, I'm not just good enough. You know, I can't compete because if you come at me from what I perceive as a racial perspective, I feel injured. My feelings get hurt. I'm offended. It's not working anymore. This is 2024. We're heading into 2025, and there are black billionaires, black millionaires, black athletes, black entertainers, black professors, it's over. That is not going to propel the Democrat Party anymore. At some point, I was talking to a buddy of mine who's been involved in politics, and I'm like, when you see all the data in front of you, all of it, when you look at data, and you can clearly see at this point, people are completely over it. When you look at that, what would that tell you as a politician of any color? Black, white, green, indifferent. What would that tell you? That would tell me it's not working. So until the Democrat Party decides to put on their big boy and big girl panties and realize at this point is we've had it and it's over, we're not going to take it anymore, shove it. Tell me what you can do and stop complaining about the color of your skin. Because when you complain about the color of your skin, you make all of us look weak, and you make people who aren't that color a little bit standoffish. I'm done with you, okay? I don't come at me with that race. I know part of the Democrat strategy was to use the word race to make people, I don't want to be called a racist. If you call me a racist, it really makes me upset. Maybe that might work with the liberal suburban moms. I don't know. At this point, I don't care. People call me uncle, you know what? I'm like, yeah, I don't care. It can't hurt me. It means nothing. I'm just going to go do my work. I'm just going to do what I do, and it doesn't matter. At this point, if it matters to you that much to call it a trope, then you have the problem. You're the one looking for it. I'm not. I wanted this woman. I don't care if she had green and antennas sticking out of her head. I wanted her to answer the questions. And immediately what these pundits do is try to find a reason why it wasn't fair, why she wasn't treated right, all the different reasons why that nobody else cares about. Tara Palumeri, yeah, I agree 100%. People that bring up the race card are the problem. Absolutely. She's not Afro-American, she's East Indian. I've been getting stuff in the mail daily from Democrats, even after I already voted. Barry, I'm surprised she didn't say I'm speaking about Donald Trump. You've lost the message. I mean, I can't even fathom how there's no strategist who can't see this. Hey, I'm not even competing on an equal footing because I won't address the things that people care about. And at this point, you're heading into the territory where you can't cheat to overcome what's happening. People are so fed up with it. And yet you get the people on the media who are trying to say, hey, you know, she did okay. She went into the belly of the beast. Well, no, she didn't, because the belly of the beast is when she has to talk to Putin. The belly of the beast when she's got to go to China and talk to Xi Jinping. Or North Korea. That's the belly. That's the hard conversation. And what I saw last night is not a woman who looks like she can have a conversation with Putin. That kind of conversation, what's she going to say? Well, Donald Trump said, you know, you guys were friends. You'd get laughed at and get the rest of us bombed. It's absolutely crazy. Dems need to quit with the race card. We are Americans. Yep, it's 2024. It's done. They are a bunch of crybabies. Yeah, everything about it, from the Transformer stuff to the race baiting. It's all about putting their feelings on you. And I just wonder, at some point, are you going to have a man or a woman that are going to stand up and realize we need to win on our own? We don't need to try and put the entirety of the melanin spectrum on our backs? Can we do that? Yeah, you can. You know how? Because he got elected. Obama got elected. But now, because you're solely relying on the media to prop you up, you're in trouble because people like me sometimes get more views than these media shows. As of right now, there have been 470,000 views of my show last night showing her interview. Joy Reid ain't getting that. There's shows on MSNBC that are on every single day on a gazillion-dollar network, ain't getting those kind of views. A lot of people, when I put up the poll today, which I found really interesting, is that, hey, you guys heard about Obama getting ready to throw Kamala under the bus? And I believe it was like 70% or 60% were like, no, what happened? People aren't tuning into your crap anymore. That's why you also, as I've been saying, they fear Elon. If Trump wins, when Trump wins, they're gonna go ballistic. Be ready, as I've said, be absolutely ready. And also, the media knows they are done for. Because if Trump, say it again, when Trump wins, and Elon's part of that administration, all bets are off. All bets are off with these guys here. All bets are off with a guy called Zuckerberg, because that platform called X is going to be a mammoth, just unbelievable media source. As many of you have now realized who have joined my group and have basically been digging in over there going, oh my God, I didn't know all this information was out there. It is a literal smorgasbord. I don't need you, Rachel Maddow. I don't need you. I can find it instantaneously. And that's what's happening. And so now they're stuck with her. Or are they? Because something's just not... Let's continue here. Listen to this.
What I will say is that, one principle I try to remember that I thought she demonstrated is making sure not to allow them to kind of change the subject or the framing of the question at hand, right? The whole topic there was the fact that a candidate for president and a former U.S. president described the American people, the ones he disagreed with, as the enemy. And
so if they allow propaganda and lies to permeate their networks, that is just another brick in the wall of their doom. The trust in the media, there are charts everywhere that shows the trust in the media, which is dropping faster than Kamala's rankings. Because of this. Because you put people on who look in the camera and just lie. Absolutely lying, and you get the host who are getting paid millions to just sit there and look pretty and don't say nothing to them. There's no pushback. So when she goes on a show like Bret Baier, and you actually get some pushback, it's, oh my God, he pushed back on me. No, he just asked you a question. He wanted an answer. They don't look for any answers. She'll sit there with her lips pursed and let him just talk.
It's really important not to allow some sidestepping of that. So, she did that. She also made sure to continue to get her point across even when she was being repeatedly interrupted. As somebody who has a lot of batting practice myself on that network, really proud of how...
You have lips and you have a tongue to speak. You're supposed to be a reporter, not just a... Why put yourself on camera? If I'm not talking, I don't want to sit there for minutes just sitting there. Just letting them spew. Your job no longer is reporting. Your job is to facilitate the propaganda that the administration wants to say.
She represented her views, her values, and this ticket in front of a conservative audience. Something I might add, by the way, that is a show...
Now he's taken a turn, and she still didn't even answer what he just said. She didn't say, hey, listen, what do you mean Trump's talking about, taking the military in Americans? He didn't really say that. Here's what he meant, blah, 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 blah.
Of strength that is the exact opposite of the weakness that Donald Trump has demonstrated by pulling out of going even on CNBC, which is hardly a liberal bastion, or 60 Minutes.
See what I mean? See what I mean? She could have just said, well, 60 Minutes, Kamala was on there, she kind of flubbed it, and they had to edit it to make her look better.
Where it's customary for both candidates to go on. He's not prepared to go in front of a skeptical, let alone unfriendly audience.
Now, if you didn't know, you wouldn't have known that he went to the Society or Association of Black Journalists. Nope, you would know that because she's not speaking up, and he's saying something that people are just supposed to take as gospel. Oh, he doesn't do hard interviews? No, he doesn't do anything like that. Okay.
She demonstrated the opposite. Remember, this is in keeping with her continued outreach to conservatives. Look at the difference between her making clear that she would include...
Notice, he had, swallow for spit because she still hadn't said anything. The reason I included this clip is I wanted you to see what a CNN anchor does. Hey, Mr. Buttigieg, here, tell me what you want me to spew. And he starts spewing, and she just sits there with nothing to say.
Republicans in her cabinet, campaigning with so many Republicans, principal Republicans, who are for her versus him, referring to Democrats as the enemy.
Yeah, and finish responding, please.
They don't get it. They just don't understand. People are over this stuff. Now, the reason why I really included that Pete Buttigieg clip and also the other pundits who were basically there to support her was because at this point, they're being sent out to do something. They're being sent out there to basically do triage and put the Band-Aids on what's really going on. But they're not privy to what's going on in the back with Obama and Biden. There was this thing at this funeral, which I'm going to show you and we're going to get into in a second. I just wanted to lay it out for you that everybody ran and did their job as the good little minions that they are. but they don't know what's happening in the background. And watch.
And let me just finish. I'll get to the question. I promise you.
I was beginning to answer. People
Critics
calling
say
them
that it goes to
suckers and
Hezbollah,
losers.
Hamas.
Suckers and losers. See, she's used to being able to say that with no pushback. Hey, Ms. Harris, you're lying.
Has diminished
And who
the
We're
significance.
talking over each other. I apologize.
What did I do?
Listen, I know Brett, and he is, I think, a really fair person. And there's an interview he did with Trump where he is ruthless with Trump. And I would compare those two. I think she got a fair shake. I think on substance, she was light. On style, she was great. I thought, like Brian thought, she looked tough. And that.
I don't want my president to have style points. She's not going off of a diving board and looking for a little bit of a splash or a big splash. They have reduced the presidency of the United States to basically a Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers routine. Oh, she didn't say anything. She's got no substance, but she looked good in heels. Are you kidding me? Is that where our media is at this point? Her hair was pretty. She was dressed well. She had a belt on. She had the fake earring. Oh, she looked great. Her style? We might as well just go ahead and put Melania as president at that point, huh? Because she got more style than all y'all.
It was a moment that was important for her to be able to show, I'm tough enough for this. I can withstand the tough interview, because that's been a knock on her.
Right.
But where I'm focused on the undecided voters in the swing states, I don't think this moved them, because they are still looking for real answers to real problems, real solutions, and I'm not sure that they got those specifics in this interview.
So I talked about this yesterday for a little bit, and I said to you guys, who are the morons who are undecided at this point? Who are those people who have lived through the last 4 years and are still undecided? They act on television like there's this big swath of people out there who 2.5 weeks away from an election still don't know. Maybe they shouldn't even be bothered with voting at this point, if you're that much of an airhead. And so I have to believe that these people in these studios in New York and Washington, what they really are saying is, we're trying to hold on to the people who want to vote for Kamala or who now have went, maybe we should look at Trump. See, that's who they're talking about. What they're talking about isn't undecideds. What they are talking about is people who haven't voted early, who they thought would be Kamala voters, and they're starting to look elsewhere. That's not an undecided. That's someone who's looking to switch their vote. These people are trying to hold on. I watched the Univision town hall last night. It was kind of boring. I mean, it was really boring. But a couple of the people who asked Trump questions were asking him questions, and they would say, I was going to vote this way, but now I'm thinking about voting this way. Convince me. Love that. That's who you want to talk to. You know what? I was thinking about voting for Kamala, but now I have a dilemma. I'm trying to figure out if that's the right thing. That's not undecided. That's getting someone to turn to Donald Trump. I've seen it over and over and over on X. People say, I don't like him. I don't like his mannerisms, don't like his speech, I don't like that. And then they'll say, but now I'm voting for Trump. See, that is what I really wanted to impart upon you. It's that there aren't that many undecideds. There are people who have been historically Democrat who are now shifting. It's not undecided. That's what they're terrified of. Count on it. Go look yourself. And you're going to see over and over and over people like, I've been voting Democrat for the last 20 years. But now I think I'm going to go vote for Trump. That's not undecided. That's someone who's switching. You're not going to find people go, I don't know who to vote for. It could be her, could be him. No, those don't exist 2.5 weeks from an election. What you're trying to do is just do everything you can from stopping this campaign that's going off the rails and keeping them into your camp and getting them to the voting booth before they look the other way. Good luck with that. Because now, with what I'm going to tell you and show you, it's getting even worse. So somebody put together this other big lie.
So are they misguided, the 50%?
Listen,
are they stupid? What is it?
I would never say that about the American people. What else do we know about this population, 18 through 24? They are stupid.
You were asked on 2 different shows last week what, if anything, you would do differently than President Biden. Here's what you said.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Under a Harris administration, what would the major changes be, and what would stay the same?
Sure. Well, I mean, I'm obviously not Joe Biden.
I know.
And so that would be one change in terms of, but also I think it's important to say with, 28 days to go, I'm not Donald Trump.
So you're not Joe Biden, you're not Donald Trump, but nothing comes to mind that you would do differently?
Let me be very clear.
All right. So pay attention to what she says here, because what she answers here, in my opinion, I don't want to speak for her, but in my opinion, as what has transpired today, I think this is her trying to extricate herself from Joe, and she didn't clear this with the powers that be. She decided she was going to basically do this on the fly, not realizing that the powers that be were like, get your little dark butt back into the camp here. You just stepped out of line. Those of you who watched this last night, you'll remember what she said, the answer to this question.
My presidency will not be a continuation of Joe Biden's presidency.
All right. My presidency won't be a continuation of Joe Biden. You went against the family, Fredo. You did the Godfather scene in real life. You walked up to, the Mafucci bros and said, yeah, I can get Michael to do this. Yeah, he's going to trust me, because I'm the older brother. I can do what I want. And now you're going to get whacked. You stepped out and you spoke out about the family in a bad way. You don't know what I'm talking about? Go watch The Godfather. Go watch The Godfather and see what happens when Michael sees Fredo. They said, you broke my heart. And gives him a kiss. She just broke Dementia Joe's heart and Obama's heart. And now she's going to have to pay the price. So I played that funny video at the beginning. And that funny video that I played was an overdub. Somebody did the most fantastic overdub job ever. So if you see an AI button over here, it's because I use that altered content. But what I'm about to show you now is not altered content. What I'm about to show you now is that the New York Post, they hired a lip reader with 15 or 18 years of experience. And that lip reader said, here's what they actually said in this conversation. I'm going to play it. Maybe I'll play it twice so you guys can see it. But when you hear what they're saying, they're basically talking about whacking Kamala. You watched every mob movie out there. You know when De Niro and what was the guy's name? Pesci, and they were in Goodfellas, and he goes, no, Ray Liotta. He goes, I was supposed to take him out that night. And De Niro says, no, don't worry about it. Just like that, they were talking about taking a guy out. These guys are talking about taking her out, not in terms of like the mobsters do, but in another kind of way. So you have to wonder at this point, are they really thinking about switching out a candidate with 2 weeks left to go? Because it sounds like it. So without further ado, look at the actual words that were said. This isn't a dub. This is a lip reader who transcribes it. Ready? So I'm going to stop it so everybody has a chance to read so it doesn't go too fast. So Obama's talking and he goes, no, that's not on. What's not on? That was the exact same words Ray Liotta used in Goodfellas. He goes, are we still on? No, we're not on. Okay, so what's not on? Obama, unintelligible. I think it's important that we have some time together. Don't know what it means. We'll take it at value. So whatever he said to Biden, you can look at Biden's face and he's like, just a stone drop of his face. And he says, yes, that's right. Maybe we can. She's not as strong as me. I know. That's true. Ooh. All right, so the ex-president is talking to the current president and saying that Kamala, she's not as strong as you. Biden says, she's not as strong as me. Obama goes, yeah, I know that's true. That's what I don't understand. We have time. The guy read his lips and said, that's what he said. We have time. As far as I know, it's October 17th. We're talking, 13, 14 days left in October, and then 5 days. We're talking 19 days. What time do you have? We'll get it in time. What are you going to get, and in what time frame are you talking about? And those aren't happy faces. Biden looks like he saw a ghost. Do I need to show that again? Did you guys get it? No news station is covering this. They all completely, to use another mob term, they've all hit the mattresses at this point. But it's all over X, and people are like freaking out. Colin Rugg, just in the New York Post, says a professional lip reader caught Obama agreeing with President Biden that Kamala is not as strong as he is. Obama assured Biden, however, that they have time, according to the Post. Biden, she's not as strong as me. Obama, I know, that's true. We have time. Biden, yeah, we'll get it in time. It's important that we have some time together. What the hell are they referring to? What? Charlie Kirk, wow, the New York Post hired a professional lip reader to analyze this interaction at Ethel Kennedy's memorial between Barack and Joe. Biden, she's not as strong as me. Obama, I know that's true. This is a stunning revelation that even two Democrat presidents know Kamala Harris is weak. Historically awful candidate. Want to point something out to you. Hope you guys can see this. This was at Ethel Kennedy's funeral. You see the timestamp there? That time is 1:19 p.m. in the afternoon, Eastern Time. The interview didn't happen till 5:30 Eastern Time. So prior to her complete flubbing of that interview, these guys are already talking at a funeral about doing something. And I'm not being conspiratorial. I believe the New York Post that they hired someone who reads lips, and that's what was said. People can hire their own lip reader if they want to, debate that. But all I know from seeing this is that at 1:19 p.m., 4 hours before the interview, these guys are already talking about what we need to do because she's weak. That can't be good. And did she know it going into the interview? And is that why she said, my president ain't going to be anything like him? And Obama, who's probably running the show, went, what you mean? What you talking about, Willis? You're going to do what I tell you to do if you win. What do you mean it ain't going to be nothing like his? Did she just accelerate things into motion? I don't know. Dave Rubin. President Biden griped to former President Obama that she's not as strong as me, with Obama agreeing that's true in a stunning off-mic conversation deciphered for the Post by a professional lip reader. It's stunning. Just in, lip reader hired by New York Post says Biden told Obama she's not as strong as me at the funeral, and ex-president agreed that's true. The other guy standing to Obama's left, by the way, Bill Clinton. So Bill Clinton, standing basically a foot away from Obama and Biden, are standing there. You got to think that possibly Bill even knew what was going on at that point, because I'm sure that it wasn't happening in a vacuum. He didn't. When you look at Obama in this picture, he's not trying to look away and go like this to Joe. He's talking. Bill knew what was being said. They know what's going on, whatever it is that's going on. It's kind of scary. I mean, what are we getting into? If you ever wanted to check, this is the actual story yourself that you can go read on the New York Post. On the New York Post, there it is. Biden tells Obama she's not as strong as me. An ex-pres agrees that's true at Ethel Kennedy's service. And as you can see, Bill Clinton's right there. So you got Bill Clinton, the Secret Service guys around Obama and Biden, and they're talking about what you just heard or read. That to me is jaw-dropping, as it is to many people who have seen it and are talking. Because what the hell were those two guys talking about? Why would they have been even discussing that in terms of her not being as strong at this late date? I mean, we're talking 2.5 weeks or so before the friggin' election. And now I'm just going to let it play and let you guys read it again. Let it sink in as you're watching this. Maybe they were talking about the next big wire transfer that they want to drop that's supposed to go over there. I have no idea. Anything else I would say is speculative, except for what you just saw. You are 19 days? Yeah, 19 whatever days away from an election. And two of the most powerful people in the Democrat Party, Clinton and Obama, are sitting there next to Dementia Joe, who's a current president who looks terrified in that exchange. He doesn't exude confidence. He looks like he's listening to his boss. And his boss is telling him. I don't think that bodes well for the country, especially with what we saw last night. And what's really weird is that nobody in the news finds anything wrong with that. Nobody? Y'all don't want to talk about this? Nobody want to ask Biden or Karine Jean-Pierre, what the hell, what was that? Oh, we're just talking about, they're going to lie, obviously. They're not going to tell you, but it is what it is. It's a dodgy conversation. I don't know what it is, but if anything, Barry, it's absolutely hilarious that the liberal media has a problem asking any real questions. Oh, for sure. It's a complete poop show. Yeah, that's what I thought. Where'd that go? Somebody's like, yeah, that's it. Desperation is off the charts. There's literally no way she can win. I mean, when I look at the charts that I just showed you from Polymarket and from RCP and the pollsters now, whatever they used to think, I mean, you're 21 points down. 21 points down. according to that poll. Does it mean anything? No, it means absolutely nothing. It's a betting market. However, it's a better barometer in my mind than calling up people you don't want to say who they are or anything. I mean, I understand you could say, well, there's more Republicans buying bets or whatever. Yeah, everything can be manipulated. But the idea behind it is that all of the trend lines, not Polymarket, not RCP, all of them, every single one of them is shifting to Trump winning. So right now, in the next couple of weeks, all Trump has got to do is just coast and stay alive. And I believe he wins big. Which means what they're going to do is what's concerning, and why you better be ready for anything. And I do mean anything. And again, I'm not being conspiratorial. I just know that these people are desperate. Somebody just put up, the funeral music is quite appropriate. Barry doing well speaking for us common folks that have common sense. That was my message today. Something's happening. You take away from the hour we've spent here today, and you can tell your friends, hey, listen, I don't know definitively, but here's what I do know. The fact that as of right now at 5:31, what you do know is that all of the polling has shifted towards Trump winning. She doesn't lead in any of the swing states. None of them. What you do know is that Barack Obama and Dementia Joe were having a conversation an hour at 1:15 or so in the afternoon, 4 hours before an interview with Fox, and they're seemingly doubting Kamala Harris's resolve and ability to get shit done. That's what you do know. And then you heard them say, we still have time. Time for what? That's what the message is I wanted to get to you guys today is something's happening. I know a lot of people say stay frosty, watch your six, stay out of crowds right now. Something's about to happen. Do I know? No. I won't even speculate as to what these morons will do. But it ain't looking good. And you got the media lying, and you've got other politicians lying, and they're trying to cover it, and everything they're doing at this point is just going, there are no undecideds. They don't exist. They're just trying to hold on to what they thought they had. And then at the same token, you put all this together in this melting pot here, and you've got the tres leches running around taking over apartment complexes in different cities. And it keeps happening. I can't even understand how I'm even reading an article where one apartment complex has been taken over. And now I'm seeing them going to different cities. Oh, 4 more were taken over. I'm like, how? Who is the law enforcement in these towns where these idiots are just walking in and taking over apartment complexes? By the time that the article came out, it should have said, takeover thwarted, 10 bad guys met their demise. Not they took over 4 complexes, because I'm thinking, well, send in whoever you need to send in and get rid of these people. But they're not doing that. Oh yeah, we had 4 more. And then you got Martha Raddatz on ABC News going, it's just a couple. If they're giving you soft disclosure to tell you it's not that bad, you'll be okay if they take a couple. All I can do is I hope it's not one of yours. Those of you who live, in a small town, or you expect that the police are going to protect you until the tres leches show up and say you pay them rent now, weekly. Last story I want to tell you. My wife, her mom